magnificent view of Globe Derby Park, home of harness racing in South Australia and situated 16 kilometres north of the city of Adelaide. Hello, I'm David Bashir and welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 1990 Interdominion Series, and what a series it should be too. 2 weeks of heats culminating in the grand final in a fortnight's time, and the grand final holds a purse of $420,000, so a lot of prestige and prize money up for grabs in the next fortnight of racing here at Globe Derby Park. And it should be one of the most even series for quite some time. Victorian trainer Bob Knight's aiming for a record third Interdominion. He won the race in 1988 with Our Maestro and of course last year with Jodie's Babe in Perth. And the Knight stable has 4 runners engaged in the heats: Our Maestro, Jane Ellen, Our Meter Boy and Rockley Victory. To the points table, well, it's quite simple. In the 3 nights of qualifying heats, all pacers contesting the heats receive points for finishing the race. In the 10-horse fields, the winner collects 10 points plus 1 bonus point, with the place getters and unplaced runners receiving points corresponding to their finishing positions in the field. So, for example, the third-placed horse receives 8 points and the horse finishing last in a 10-horse heat receives just the 1 point. Now to the opening heat over 1,800 metres, and the first heat looks ideally set up for number 2, Thorate, who has blistering speed out of the barrier. But the 2 interesting runners are the 2 Bob Knight trained horses, 88 champion Our Maestro, number 8, and number 12, Rockley Victory. Joining me in commentary for the Interdominion Series, covering his 13th championship for the ABC, George Grilicic.
Moving up also is Gaelic Skipper from New Zealand. Butcher's Mate goes up in 3. Thorate's up near the gate and Screaming Eagle on the fence. Rivoli Jack's broken into a gallop on the second row and he's dropped right out of it. Stand by, blue light, they're off and racing now. Our Maestro began fairly on the outside, but Thorate's going quickly and will cross straight to the judge, past the onto the rail, past the judge's box the first time from Butcher's Mate and Screaming Eagle on the inside. Earth Station got through the field to be 1 out and 1 back, and they were followed by Rockley Victory on the inside, then Roliella. A length and a half further back in the field is Gaelic Skipper, with about 3 lengths further back Our Maestro. A break of about 4 lengths further back behind him, Bowl Sharvard, and 3/4 of a length to Rivoli Jack, who's about 35 metres off the leader. Down the back straight, and Hancock is getting it easy on Thorate in the first lap, and he leads by 1 length and a half. Butcher's Mate is 2nd and a half a length on the inside is Screaming Eagle. 1 out and 1 back Earth Station. 3/4 of a length back on the inside is Rockley Victory, then a half a length on the outside to Roliella. They were followed 1 length and a half further back in the field, then in next person by Gaelic Skipper. A neck back on the inside is Our Maestro. A length off on the outside next of all Bowl Sharvard, and 1 length and a half to Rivoli Jack. They come around the home turn just before the bell, and it's Thorate untroubled in front from on the outside. Butcher's Mate, Screaming Eagle the rail. Earth Station 4th, followed by Rockley Victory, then Roliella. Our Maestro the rail, followed by Gaelic Skipper, then Bowl Sharvard and Rivoli Jack. At the bell, they come down to the judge's box, and it's Thorate the leader, going to the 800-metre mark and travelling easily. Thorate from New South Wales, and representing Tasmania, Brian Hancock, the driver from New South Wales. It leads by 1 length from Butcher's Mate on the outside, and a half a length on the inside to Screaming Eagle. Earth Station's had a lovely run, hooking out 3 wide, Roliella, but Earth Station's trying to come out from underneath it, back on the inside to Rockley Victory. They were followed further back by Gaelic Skipper, and the next one Our Maestro, followed by Bowl Sharvard, and the last one still Rivoli Jack. 500 metres left to run, and Thorate has been joined by Butcher's Mate, but Thorate is battling on strongly on the inside and beats off Butcher's Mate. Roliella's coming 4 wide round Earth Station, and they were followed by Screaming Eagle on the rail. In a pocket back behind them, Rockley Victory, and they were followed by Gaelic Skipper. Around the home turn with 200 metres left to go, and Thorate's given them the go-by. It slipped away by 2.5 lengths. Thorate looks to have it won. Screaming Eagle battling on the inside. Roliella wide out, and coming home quickly is Rockley Victory on the outside. He's storming home, but Thorate's too good. Thorate wins by 1 length and a half. Rockley Victory, a half a length back. Roliella, Screaming Eagle possibly 4th on the inside from wide out. Coming home quickly was Gaelic Skipper. They were followed further back in the field by Our Maestro, then Butcher's Mate, Rivoli Jack, Earth Station further back behind them, and the last one home is Bowl Sharvard. So that's the running of the first heat, and as expected, the brilliant Tasmanian pacer Thorate from the stables of Brian Hancock from Sydney, proving too good for them. Had an easy run in the early part of the race, gave them the slip on the home turn, and halfway down the straight is about 2.5 to 3 lengths in front. That's Rockley Victory in the gold colours, flashing home on the outside to grab 2nd spot, and Roliella inside it in 3rd position. A brilliant pacer, Thorate, winning the first heat and gaining 11 points. Number 12, is Rockley Victory, and a half a length back on the inside of it, Rolly Ella third, and the one on the outside is the New Zealander Gaelic Skipper number 6.
Number 2, Thorate Successful, driven by Brian Hancock at 7-2 on. It beat home number 12, Rockley Victory at 8-1, and third number 14, Rolly Ella at 20-1. Now to Heat 2, and there's one scratching. Number 9, Keen Edge is out, and it gives a run to number 13, the Cornishman, to be driven by Ross Sugars. And the horses to look out for in Heat number 2. Number 2, Rufus Youngblood, the 1987 Horse of the Year. Number 3, Kylie's Hero, who ran third in last year's Interdominion Grand Final in Perth. We Own a Chief, number 5, to be driven by Brian Hancock. Hancock going for a winning double in the first 2 heats. And the local West Australian hero, number 12, Whitby Timer. Now they're moving up quite well from the outside. National Image from New South Wales brings the runners up. Whirly Dream coming up alongside him. Then We Own a Chief moving up. Kylie's Hero, which has drawn 3, is pacing smoothly. Rufus Youngblood coming up near the gate in 2. And the inside runner is Empire Fella from Victoria. Oh, Almeida Boy's broken up on the back row. And he's going to lose about 50 metres. They come down towards release point, and they're off and racing now. And Whirly Dreams under the whip in a bit to get the lead. And he might cross, although Kylie's Hero's accelerating on the inside. It's a great tussle for the lead. And the veteran Whirly Dream crosses to the front in front of Kylie's Hero. Moving up on the outside, National Image, and then Rufus Youngblood, one wide. Back on the fence, Empire Fella. Then We Own a Chief, and a length and a half, All a Dream on the fence, and 3/4 of a length, Whitby Timer. And about 3 lengths further back behind him, the Cornishman. And there's about 45 metres to Almeida Boy. Down the back straight, he's able to give the leader a breather now, and it's Whirly Dream in front for Lance Justice, but there's a very fast run by Rufus Youngblood, which is going up to tackle the leader, but Rufus Youngblood is now forced to sit on the outside of Whirly Dream. The old stager on the rail has got plenty of pace, and they were followed by Kylie's Hero, and then National Image, one out and one back, a length and a half back on the inside, next Empire Fella. They were followed on the outside by Whitby Timer. All a Dream is bailed up on the rail, making a 3 wide run from the back now is the Cornishman. We Own a Chief about to get onto its back, and Almeida Boy has nearly caught the field. They race in for the bell now with about 900 metres left to go, and it's Whirly Dream giving a bold exhibition in front. He ran the first quarter of the last mile in 30.5, so the pace is on, and it's Whirly Dream, the leader, past the 800 by 3/4 of a length. Whitby Timer's gone up into second spot. Back on the inside, Kylie's Hero can't get a clear run at the moment. The Cornishman is 3 wide up around National Image. Back on the fence, Empire Fella. We Own a Chief out 3 wide. All the Dreams off the fence in the centre, but still in the pocket. And Rufus Youngblood is second last, 3 wide, and the last one, Almeida Boy. Down the back now with 500 metres left to go. And it's Whirly Dream defying them at the moment. Whitby Timer's a half length back in second position. Kylie's Hero is waiting for a run down on the inside, and here comes We Own a Chief 4 wide, right round the outside. It's gone up around the Cornishman. All the Dreams into the clear. He's starting to put in the big strides now. 250 metres left to go, and Whitby Timer has dashed to the front. The Western Australian 4-year-old has got about 2 lengths in front of We Own a Chief, the danger. And they were followed back on the inside, coming home strongly down on the inside. National Image, and wider out is All a Dream, but Whitby Timer's the leader, and he's holding them at bay, and Whitby Timer wins by just over a length. Second place to We Own a Chief. Third on the outside, possibly All a Dream from Kylie's Hero, which got out late. Then National Image, Empire Fella. Further back, Almeida Boy, which nearly lost all chance at the start. Then the Cornishman. Whirly Dream weakened back to second last, and Rufus Youngblood was at the rear of the field. So a sensational win by the Western Australian 4-year-old Whitby Timer, and a splendid drive by Rod Chambers. This horse dashed clear on the home turn. He put 2 lengths in them. That's We Own a Chief under the whip with about 50 metres to go. And right down the outside, All a Dream came home solidly. And look at Kylie's Hero weave through close down to the fence to get a clear run. But Whitby Timer wins it convincingly in the run of the judge. A very smart 4-year-old Whitby Timer, who campaigned successfully during the Christmas Carnival in Western Australia and has scored a very impressive win. A great start to the Chambers stable with number 12 Whitby Timer successful from WA, driven by Rod Chambers, starting at 8-1. Second, number 5, We Own a Chief at 55-10, and third, number 10, All a Dream at 9-1. The unplaced favourite, number 2, Rufus Youngblood at 22-10. And the third heat features the championship favourite, number 12, Westburn Grant, to be driven by Vic Frost. And the biggest danger to the New South Wales pacer appears to be number 6, Jane Ellen from the Bob Knight stable, to be driven by son Vin Knight, who's yet to win a championship, and number 9, Reba Lord from New Zealand.
And they're coming up now for this third heat on the opening round of the championship. Victory's Phil is the outside runner on the front row. Jane Ellen coming up. She's drawn out in barrier 5. And also moving up there is Kyella Fling on the inside of it. Whitby Heritage, Quite Famous, and Trunky Sting all coming forward. And the second row pacing well. Westburn Grant is one from the outside in the second row. They're about to go now. Blue light, they're off. Jane Ellen got away quickly, but Kyella Fling is also going for the lead, and they're going to have a torrid tussle. Although Kyella Fling is holding out Jane Ellen. From wide out going forward is Victory Phil, 3 wide. Trunky Sting back on the fence, and in the centre, Whitby Heritage. Then another Bart, he's off the rail. Westburn Grant trapped a little bit wide. He's racing on the outside of Bronski Beat, and 2 lengths back behind him, the New Zealander Reba Lord. And a long way further back to Quite Famous. He's about 30 metres behind the second last horse. Down the back the first time, and Jane Ellen's taken up the running. And it leads by just over a length from Victory's Phil, and about a neck back on the inside, Kyella Fling. 1 out and 1 back is the West Australian mare, Whitby Heritage, which is travelling well in the early part, and a neck back on the inside, Trunky Sting. Another Bart is next on the outside, racing a neck in advance of Bronski Beat, followed by Westburn Grant. He's third last. A length and a half further back behind them, Reba Lord, and the same margin further back to Quite Famous, and about 25 metres would cover the field. The first quarter of the last mile in 30.9. The pace is solid, and it's Jane Ellen leading out by just over a length. Victory's Phil as they come down the straight to get the bell. On the inside is Kyella Fling getting a good run. Whitby Heritage is trotting in 4th position as they come to the judges' box. Trunky Sting is next on the inside, then another Bart. They were followed by Bronski Beat on the rail. Westburn Grant is racing on the outside of Quite Famous, and a length and a half further back, Reba Lord. Over towards the back straight they go, 700 metres to run, and it's Jane Ellen by 3/4 of a length. Oh, one broke up. Kyella Fling disorganised the field. Westburn Grant had to swing very wide. Trunky Sting has dropped back to a long last. Down the back they're spread out, and it's Jane Ellen the leader, and Knight's gone for the doctor. Leads by a length and a half. Victory's Phil looks a winner, Jane Ellen. About 3 lengths, Whitby Heritage, which got a check in that scrimmage, and a length and a half further back behind him, Bronski Beat, and they were followed 3 lengths away by another Bart. And Westburn Grant is winding up, but he's about 25 metres from the leader. 250 left to go, and Jane Ellen has treated the opposition. It's 4 lengths in front from Victory's Phil. Around the outside, Whitby Heritage coming home solidly, then Westburn Grant wide out, and they were followed by Bronski Beat. Halfway down the straight, the whip's out on Jane Ellen. She's shortening stride, but she will win it clearly, and Jane Ellen wins by 2.5 lengths. Westburn Grant got up to run second, a neck in advance of Whitby Heritage. Down on the inside, Victory's Phil wide out. Reba Lord, the New Zealander, came home well. Then Bronski Beat. They were followed by another Bart, Quite Famous, and the last one in is Trunky Sting. So the 4-year-old mare from Victoria, Jane Ellen, which has a very impressive strike rate, has landed the money for Vin Knight, who's been a prolific winner of Interdominion heats over the years. Yet to drive a winner of a grand final, but it could be the year of the mare, and Jane Ellen could do the trick for him in 2 weeks' time. Jane Ellen, she was tapped up with the whip in the closing stages, but was never really in any danger. Westburn Grant, which got a bad check, has finished second, and that's Whitby Heritage on the inside of it, a neck back third.
So a pretty rough affair in Heat 3. Kyella Fling broke a hopple in the back straight, severely hampering Trunky Sting, and Kyella Fling did not finish Heat 3 and receives no points. And the favourite Westburn Grant and Whitby Heritage received slight interference in the back straight. But one horse that was clear of all traffic, the winner number 6, Jane Ellen, 2-1, driven by Vin Knight, trained by Bob Knight. Second number 12, Westburn Grant, a good run, 8-10 in favourite. And third number 4, Whitby Heritage at 10-1. It's been a great night of harness racing, the opening night of the 49th Interdominion Series. Join us again on Wednesday night for round 2. Hello and welcome to Globe Derby Park and the second night of heats in the 1990 Interdominion Pacing Championship. And what a great night of heats it was on Saturday night to kick off the series. In the opening heat, it was all Thorate. The 7-year-old was driven perfectly by Brian Hancock and had the pace to lead from go to woe.
It's slipped away by 2.5 lengths. Thorate looks to have it won. Screaming Eagle battling on the inside. Rolliella wide out and coming home quickly is Rockley Victory on the outside. He's storming home, but Thorate's too good. Thorate wins by a length and a half. Rockley Victory, a half a length back. Rolliella's.
Whitby Timer sat outside the leader in the second heat, but was far too strong for all opposition in the home straight.
Has got about 2 lengths in front of Leona Chief, the danger. And they were followed back on the inside, coming home strongly down on the inside. National Image and wider out is All a Dream, but Whitby Timer's the leader, and he's holding them at bay. And Whitby Timer wins by just over a length. Second place to Leona Chief, third on the outside.
The third heat was marred by interference in the back straight, which hampered the favourite Westburn Grant, leaving Jane Ellen way in front as they turn for home.
They were followed by Blonsky Beat. Halfway down the straight, the wind's out on Jane Ellen. She's shortening stride, but she will win it clearly. And Jane Ellen wins by 2.5 lengths. Westburn Grant got up to run second. A neck in advance of Whitby Heritage.
And looking at the points table, the heat winners from the opening night, Thorate, Whitby Timer and Jane Ellen all on 11 points. The series favourite Westburn Grant on 9 points. And a very interesting runner on 7 points, the New Zealander Gaelic Skipper. He was backed in from 200s to 40 to 1 during the week, so a big betting plunge on the New Zealander Gaelic Skipper. He ran fourth in his opening heat on Saturday night. And of the other horses down the list, well, they'll need to improve to have any chance of making the grand final on Saturday week. Our Maestro and Our Meter Boy from the Bob Knight stable was on 5 points, and the Victorians Riverley Jack and Rufus Youngblood on 2 points. Well, to tonight's opening heats over 2,230 metres, and looking at some of the fancy runners, number 1 Reba Lord from New Zealand has drawn the pole, and some of the other fancied horses, 4 Weona Chief from New South Wales to be driven by Brian Hancock, and 6 Rockley Victory from the Bob Knight stables. And on the second row, the inside of the second row, 7 Whitby Heritage from Western Australia. Your caller is George Vilicic.
Kyla Fring is the one scratching, and the distance is 2,300 and 2,230 metres. They're about to go. Blue light, they're off. Rockley Victory got out quickly, but going with it as well. He Dreamed. They're having a great battle for the lead. Reba Lord's back on the inside, then Trunky Sting, and they were followed then by 1 quarter out, 3 wide. That's Weona Chief in the early part of the race. Whitby Heritage is back on the fence and 2.5 lengths. Bolsharvet about 4 lengths back behind him, Riverley Jack. Rockley Victory's taken up the running, coming around the home turn the first time. It leads out by a length and a half to Whirly Dream. A length back on the outside to Trunky Sting. Reba Lord, the New Zealander, down on the fence, then Earth Station. Making a run out 3 wide is another New Zealander, Bolsharvet. Whitby Heritage back on the fence. Going out 3 wide, Riverley Jack, and Weona Chief has been relegated to last. Past the judge, 2 laps left to run, and it's Rockley Victory the leader by a length from Trunky Sting in the centre, and Bolsharvet 3 wide with Whirly Dreams back behind the leader. Then back on the rail, Reba Lord from Earth Station, and out 3 wide, Riverley Jack. A length and a half back behind him, Whitby Heritage, and a neck back on the outside, Weona Chief. Going into the back straight with almost a lap covered, and it's Rockley Victory the leader by half a length. Bolsharvet's moved up in a second spot, and Riverley Jack's accelerating on the outside. And the pressure's on now as Riverley Jack goes up in a second spot. Whirly Dream is running fourth on the rail. A length and a half back behind him, Trunky Sting on the outside of Reba Lord. They were followed further back in the field by Earth Station. 3/4 of a length, Whitby Heritage on the fence, and a length and a half, Weona Chief. They come around the home turn with 1,100 metres left to run, and it's Rockley Victory being held together by Vin Knight. Leads by a length. Riverley Jack has got the second. On the outside, on the inside next is Whirly Dream. 1 out and 1 back, Bolsharvet with Reba Lord on the inside as they get the bell. Then the next one, Trunky Sting, followed on the inside by Whitby Heritage. Earth Station second last, and the last one is Weona Chief. Weona Chief hooking out 3 wide to make a big run from the back of the field now as they go towards the back straight, and it's Rockley Victory. In front by a length and a quarter, being shaken up as Riverley Jack, and a neck back on the inside, Whirly Dream. Bolsharvet is off 3 wide, beginning to cut the leader down. A length and a half further back, Earth Station. Reba Lord's got nowhere to go. Out 3 wide, Trunky Sting. Whitby Heritage on the fence, and in the middle last, Weona Chief. Down the back straight, 500 metres to run. Rockley Victory's holding the runner, Bolsharvet, by about 3/4 of a length. A length back on the inside, there's Whirly Dream, followed on the outside, next by Earth Station. Weona Chief out 3 wide, is finishing solidly, making good ground on the leaders now. Rockley Victory, flat strap with 250 metres to run. Weona Chief out 4 wide, looms up in a second spot, and they were followed then by Earth Station. And right off the track, Reba Lord's running on nicely, but Rockley Victory shot away 2 lengths. We Own a Chief down the outside is responding to the whip. Rockley Victory just the leader. We Own a Chief getting to it. We Own a Chief hits the front and beats Rockley Victory a neck. 1.5 lengths Reba Lord. 2 lengths Earth Station, 2 lengths Whitby Heritage, then 2.5 Bowl Sharp, 3 lengths back Whirly Dream. Drunky Sting is second last, and along last is Rivoli Jack. Well, a stirring finish there in the 4th heat of the Interdominion. Rockley Victory looked to have it won. When he shot clear, he was 2 lengths in front there with about 100 metres to run. The We Own a Chief, responding to Hancock's vigorous whip driving, has cut it down in the closing stages, and that's a big run by We Own a Chief. It's come from last at the bell, and Reba Lord, the New Zealander, coming home nicely for the 3rd position. Convincing win to We Own a Chief, and the 11 points takes it up to 20 and makes it certain to qualify for the grand final. A clear-cut win by about 1/2 length. Rockley Victory on the inside in the yellow colours, and Reba Lord ran a very nice race after being hemmed in to get the 3rd money.
A great win by number 4, We Own a Chief, driven by Brian Hancock and starting at 45 to 10. The New South Wales pacer went around the field in the last lap, and it was a superb victory. Second, number 6, Rockley Victory from Victoria, starting at 7 to 10 and favourite. And third, the New Zealander Reba Lord, number 1, at 35 to 10. Heat 5 sees the clash of the 2 championship favourites, number 2, Whitby Timer, and number 6, Westburn Grant, both pacing from the front row. On the second row, there's been some good support for Gaelic skipper, number 7, with the 88 champion Al Maestro drawing barrier 9.
Now they're moving up for Heat 5, and it's Westburn Grant who's got the outside draw. He needs to win this heat to retain favouritism for the series, and he's expected to lead. They're all moving up, although Al Maestro's back about 5 lengths, and Almeida Boy's 3 lengths further back behind him. They go to release point. They're off and racing, and Westburn Grant got away only fairly on the outside. Going with it, Rufus Youngblood in a bit to get the lead. Whitby Timer began fast, and he's hunting through on the inside, but he can't keep Westburn Grant out. And Westburn Grant has crossed to the rail. That was a brilliant burst of speed after the first 100 metres. And he leads out by 2.5 lengths now from Butcher's Mate. Rufus Youngblood going 3 wide around Screaming Eagle. Whitby Timer's got off the fence now, and on the outside is Victory Phil caught off the track. Bronski Beats going up on the inside. Last of the main bunch is Gaelic Skipper in a break of about 15 metres further back, Al Maestro. And on the outside of him, Almeida Boy. They come to the judges' box the first time, and making a fast run around on Victory's Phil after being trapped wide. And Westburn Grant is the leader, and he takes them out of the straight, leading by about 1/2 length on Victory's Phil. Butcher's Mate is third on the inside. Rufus Youngblood is now 1 out and 1 back, and the length back on the inside. Next is Bronski Beat, and look at this one fly around them. It's Almeida Boy let go, and Almeida Boy let go by Big Night is taking Westburn Grant on for the lead. He's got 1/2 length in front. Vic Frost forced to accelerate. They're going very hard down the back straight, and about 3 lengths further back, Victory's Phil racing on the outside there of Butcher's Mate. And they were followed further back in the field then by Whitby Timer, and Rufus Youngblood getting a good run. 1.5 lengths further back, Bronski Beat. 2 lengths Screaming Eagle, 3 lengths back behind him, Whitby Timer. They're well strung out now. 2 lengths to Gaelic Skipper, and about 5 lengths further back behind him, Al Maestro. Al Maestro's about 50 metres from the leader as they come into the straight now with 1,000 metres left to run. And it's Westburn Grant. He held the run of Almeida Boy and leads out by a neck. They get the bell now. Victory's Phil is running third on the outside of Butcher's Mate. Then Rufus Youngblood on the inside of him. Bronski Beat as they go at the last circuit. 2.5 lengths Screaming Eagle. Gaelic Skipper getting up on the inside. 1.5 lengths to Whitby Timer. He's racing about 25 metres off the leader. And 1.5 lengths to Al Maestro, which is last. They go in towards the back straight. Westburn Grant in front now with just over 600 metres to run. He leads by a long head from Almeida Boy, running a game race on the outside. 1.5 lengths further back, Butcher's Mate on the inside of Victory's Phil. Rufus Youngblood is next, and back on the inside of him, Bronski Beat now going up on the rail. 1.5 lengths, Gaelic Skipper. He's off the fence, then Whitby Timer, Al Maestro second last, and Screaming Eagle is last. 350 metres to run off the back straight, and Vic Frost is leading back in the cart behind Westburn Grant. He's got Almeida Boy beaten. He leads that horse by just over a length. On the inside, Butcher's Mate can't get a run around the outside. Rufus Youngblood, and right off the track is Gaelic Skipper, and tracking in through Whitby Timer. But Westburn Grant goes for a sprint with 100 metres left to run. Flashing home is Gaelic Skipper. He's cutting Westburn Grant down. It's going to be close, and Gaelic Skipper is too good. Gaelic Skipper runs away, wins by 1.5 lengths Westburn Grant. 3/4 length Whitby Timer, a good run. Then Butcher's Mate on the inside, Bronski Beat. 2 lengths Victory's Phil. They were followed in next by Almeida Boy. Rufus Youngblood weakened in the run up the straight. Second last, Al Maestro, and last of all is Screaming Eagle. A brilliant finishing run by Gaelic Skipper. He eased off the rail as they went into the final circuit, and he's come right round the extreme outside in the dark colours under the whip, and brilliantly driven by Maurice McKendry. And Westburn Grant had every chance, but Gaelic Skipper has beaten him pointless. And that win will enable him to go through to the grand final, even with one round of heats to go. And Whitby Timers flashed up on the outside to get third. Gaelic Skipper made no bones about that, and he trounced Westburn Grant in the run of the judge. Whitby Timer got into a little bit of trouble, but well back in the field. Number 2, Whitby Timer, a winner on the opening night, and he looks like going through to the final as well.
A paralysing burst by the New Zealander in the home straight. First, number 7, Gaelic Skipper, driven by Maurice McKendry, starting at the big odds of 20 to 1. Second, number 6, Westburn Grant from New South Wales, 1 to 2 in favourite. And third, 2, Whitby Timer from WA at 35 to 10. Heat number 6 looks a fairly open affair, and looking at some of the fancied runners in the final heat tonight, New Zealanders Kylie's Hero has drawn number 2 in the front row. Also pacing from the outside of the front row, number 4, All a Dream, and 5, Rolliella. And the first round heat winners, Jane Ellen and Thorate, in barriers 8 and 9.
And the mobile moving off now for heat 6, 2,230 metres. 2 winners from the opening round on the back row, Jane Ellen and Thorate. 6 on the front, 4 on the back. Another Bart's the outside runner on the front row. As they go to release point, they're off and racing and getting away very quickly. Rolliella from wide out and a bit across them. Kylie's Hero's going fast close to the fence. All a Dream is pushing through the middle, the Western Australian 4-year-old. And it's Rolliella in front by a neck, and Warwick is now going to seal All a Dream through, and he's going to take the lead. A length and 3/4 back behind him. Kylie's Hero's dropped onto the fence. Then another Bart. They were from the length and a half further back behind them, then by the Cornishman. Over on the outside, Jane Ellen. Empire Fellows back on the fence, and they were followed further back by National Image. Making a move from the back of the field, Quite Famous, and Thorate on the inside of that runner. Quite Famous is now restrained back to the rear. They come to the judges' box with 2 laps to run, and it's All a Dream. Steadied in front by Trevor Warwick from Western Australia. Leads out by a length and a half, Kylie's Hero. And back on the inside, the Cornishman. Rolliella is next on the outside. Now hooking out 3 wide to make a run, another Bart. They were followed then by Jane Ellen, moving up on the outside of Empire Fella. Going 3 wide from the back, Quite Famous. Then a length and a half further back behind them, National Image, and 1.5 lengths to Thorate last, but they're bunched well up. Down the back, they've covered 1 lap, and it's All a Dream. He's going easily in front. The leader from Quite Famous, which battles up into second position. A half a length to Kylie's Hero behind the leader. Another Bart now, 1 out and 1 back, racing on the outside of the Cornishman as they swing off the back straight. Then a length and a half to Rolliella. A neck further back on the inside, Empire Fella, 1.5 lengths, Jane Ellen going easily. Then a length and 3/4 further back behind him, National Image, and Thorate is last now, giving the leader 25-metre start as they come into the straight. Racing for the bell with 1,000 metres left to run, and it's still All a Dream, full of running, leading out by a length and a quarter from Quite Famous, and a head back on the inside to Kylie's Hero in an awkward pocket as they pass the judges' box. Running fourth, another Bart. The Cornishman 5th on the inside, followed by Rolliella. It's racing on the outside of Empire Fella. Jane Ellen 3rd last, 2nd last, National Image the rail. And Thorate will have to do it the last hard way from last position. Into the back, 600 metres to run. All a Dream is full of running, leads out by a length and a half, Quite Famous. Kylie's Hero still can't get out of the pocket. Then another Bart, and a head back on the inside, the Cornishman, followed by Rolliella. And then Empire Fella. They were followed further back in the field by Jane Ellen, yet to make a move. A half a length back behind them, National Image, and Thorate is still last. Off the back, 350 left to run. All a Dream being held together, leads out by a length from over on the outside. Quite Famous battling on. A half a length to Kylie's Hero, still in the pocket. Now they come from the back, Jane Ellen winding up, and Thorate's right off the track. But the leader is All a Dream. In the straight with 150 metres to run. Under the whip, Quite Famous. Kylie's Hero getting an inside run, and down the outside, Jane Ellen. All a Dream responding to the whip, close to home. Jane Ellen pressing home with the Cornishman, but All a Dream wins it. The Cornishman got up to run second, possibly third on the outside, Jane Ellen. Kylie's Hero never got out of the pocket, then Quite Famous. They were followed by National Image, Empire Fella, Rolliella. Thorate's run back near second last, and the last one home is another Bart. Well, a very good win.